And the emergencies always come when it's like
the worst possible time.
Yeah.
Naked in the shower.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd rather be making chicken tortilla soup right now than so cleaning out your hair from the shower drain.
You know you love it.
Oh yeah.
Living on a boat is a lot like a good dream. You know, the ones where you're cruising into that magical sunset while admiring beautiful views to your starboard? Well, unfortunately, like all good dreams, eventually you wake up.
So we woke up this morning to a little bit of a water leak. Water leaks on a boat are never good, so you want to get after them the absolute second that you see them. Some of our hardware up on our pilot house roof needed to be rebedded. The spotlight, we installed that this summer, and the way that the light installs to the post, I found kind of a flaw in the design, so I had to change one of the brackets and remount it, and then we hit it with the hose and we verified that the leak stopped on the spotlight, and then we noticed that there's a leak on the GPS antenna. So I just pulled that and rebedded it, and now I'm about to hose down the roof again and see if any water comes through.
Are you in a better mood now?
I will. I'll be in a good mood if the water leak is done.
No more slamming drawers or big bangs waking up the...
There wasn't any of that.
Yeah, Sully's
This just isn't what I had planned today. I have a whole day of engine maintenance to do and got disrupted by the water leak project, so that's living on a boat.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, well, we'll do that for a while. If that looks good, then I'm going to hose down some of the stuff over here.
Yeah.
And look, last time there was water kind of coming through here, just kind of look around. But we'll start there again.
Okay. So I'm gonna watch for that hole
Yeah,
up there.
I'm just going to grab a vacuum, let it dry it out first.
Luckily, the leak wasn't too hard to figure out. I was able to confirm that the leaking had stopped and all was once again rainbows and unicorns in boat life. So after Sean put the pilot house back together, he was ready to tackle his regularly scheduled engine maintenance.
On to the next project today, fall maintenance. Oil changes, fuel filter changes, air filter changes, transmission fluid changes. I think that's it.
All before we can go?
All before we can go. Gotta warm up the engines, get the oil thinned out a little bit so it pumps out easier, and away we go.
You just let me know if you need anything, okay?
Actually, you learned how to do this in the last video. You should just do it. I'll sit up here and
Get another cup of coffee?
get another cup of coffee.
Although I'm trying to be more helpful aboard Freedom these days, I thought it would be best to sit this one out and just let Sean relax in his happy place, the engine room. Okay, it's definitely been an interesting start to the day. Again, with water. And water on a boat is not what you want. And hopefully we don't have an issue. But yesterday we woke up and there was a small leak coming from what turned out to be our GPS unit, I think, on the roof of the pilot house. And now, the next day, we're getting ready and I go to change the garbage in our master head. And I pulled the garbage can out and there was a ton of water under it. But just under the garbage can. But the garbage is right next to the head, which is concerning. So who knows what's going on. And Sean kind of freaked out. We got the shop back, cleaned everything up, and now he's saying he's going to totally remove the toilet. I have no idea what that entails, but we're going to go check this out. Ugh, boat life. So you just like pulled the toilet right out?
You got it. It's dry, there's no problem. Alright, well, you'll just have to keep an eye on it. Let me know if you see water there again. If you do, we'll dig in a little closer. But while we're here and we got the shop back, I'm going to clean out the shower strainer and then the sea strainer for the pilot house air conditioning's down here. So I'll clean that out as well.
Say it with me, you love boat work.
Oh yeah, I need the vacuum though. I like planned boat work. I don't like it when like every day there's an emergency.
Yeah.
That's got to be tended to. Some kind of emergency. And the emergencies always come like, you know, when it's like...
The worst possible time?
Yeah.
Naked in the shower?
Yeah. I'd rather be making chicken tortilla soup right now than so cleaning out your hair from the shower drain.
You know you love it.
Oh yeah.
What do you need?
I need the vacuum.
Oh. Sean, maybe you should just shave your head and then you won't have so much hair in the drain.
Well, I'm losing it quick enough. There won't be much more hair on top of my head.
Alright, so boating isn't all bad, it isn't all work all the time, although most of the time it's a lot of work. We've got all of our stuff done for the week, the work day's over, boats started, getting everything ready, and we'll head back out on the water, and hopefully it stays dry. We don't have any other water leaks. The weather for the near future looks pretty dry here in the Pacific Northwest, which is awesome for this time of year because that usually never happens. And yeah, back out on the road again.
All the work is worth it once we leave the dock. For the next several days, we'll be enjoying one of Puget Sound's hidden gems, Port Gamble. At just over 25 nautical miles northwest from Seattle, at the entrance into the Hood Canal, today's cruise into Port Gamble was relaxing, scenic, and productive. At least for some of the Freedom crew. What?
Were you singing? Want us to share your song?
Nah, it's just humming. Just no singing. Just humming.
We have 3 hours left, and Thanksgiving is right around the corner. I think it's time to test out some of our dessert recipes. So today I'm going to make an apple pear crisp. A slightly healtherized version, but still going to be good. And it's going to be making a good use of the next 3 hours underway. And the boat's going to smell heavenly. So I did an apple crisp about a week ago, and it was gone in like 2 days. So I thought, might as well spice it up and add in some pear. One of my favorite ways to pass time while underway is baking, especially during this time of the year.
Cruising at a comfortable 7 knots with the stabilizers at work, I can make most things without too much worry of a pot or a pan overboard situation. Today's recipe test is apple crisp, with a touch of whiskey, of course. But next on my list is a caramel apple pie made 100% from scratch. So if you've got a good recipe to share, be sure to let me know in the comments below.
Smells good in here. Is it ready to eat yet?
About 45 more minutes.
45 more minutes?
Yeah. Do we have ice cream?
Yeah.
Do we?
Yeah, I think you got that covered the other day.
Oh, that's good. I couldn't recall.
Smells good.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Not a bad day on the water.
No, it's beautiful.
So we're coming around into the Hood Canal, and we've got less than an hour left to go. ETA is 5:45, 4:53. It's a beautiful fall day. Typical Pacific Northwest clouds, a lot of blue in the sky, a lot of gray, blue. Perfect night to go to our anchorage. Whew.
The Hood Canal is a fjord forming the western portion of Puget Sound. It's a natural waterway, not man-made like many other canals around the world. Separating the Kitsap Peninsula from the Olympic Peninsula, the Hood Canal is spanned by the Hood Canal Bridge, which is the third longest floating bridge in the world, at 1,988 meters long, and is one of the only floating bridges constructed on saltwater. The canal is a beautiful 50-mile stretch of calm water that we're looking forward to exploring a lot in the coming months. But first, back to Port Gamble.
And we've got an apple and pear crisp. Just as we pull into our anchorage. Sean,
Yep.
you'll be happy to know that dessert is done.
Awesome. Can't wait to try it.
And perfect timing.
I'm just gonna go a little bit further up. I think there's old docks over on this side of the shoreline. Certainly wouldn't want to snag one of those.
No.
Otherwise we'd be getting our dive gear out to untangle our anchor. Want to know what we're anchored in?
Sure.
SMSH, sand, mud, and shells. It's a mixed bag, a little bit of everything.
Well, that's helpful.
They ought to just sprinkle some rock in there right away too.
Yeah.
But we're backing down on the anchor and we're not moving. I think we're good. We're hooked. Love our new Rockman. I'll go put the bridle on.
Thanks for joining us on the road again. Don't forget to give us a like, subscribe to our channel, and hit that bell so you won't miss next week as we explore the region's best kept secret, Port Gamble.
Hey guys, thanks for watching that trip over to Port Gamble. We hope you enjoyed it. This week's Q&A comes from the engine room. Figured we'd change up the scenery a little bit and shoot it from my happy place. So, welcome to the engine room. Let's go ahead and get started with our weekly Q&A. Our first question this week comes from Tim, and Tim lives in Ontario, Canada. Do you have forward-facing 3D sonar? Would you ever consider adding it? We don't have a forward-looking sonar. Our sonar comes off of sort of the middle of our boat and it's pointed straight down. You know, I don't know that much about forward-facing sonar. I don't know how effective it is. I believe it to probably not be very effective at seeing things very far out. It might be nice if you're sneaking up into an anchorage that's uncharted. However, I guess in those scenarios, we would probably launch the tender and have the tender do a little bit of a scouting mission before bringing the big boat into a bay to see if the depths are suitable for anchoring. But if anybody does have experience with forward sonar, please drop us a line in the comments. I'd be curious to know your experience with it and if you think it's a product worth investigating or worth having on a boat. Our second question this week comes from Abdullah, and Abdullah lives in Dubai. Did you appoint a marine surveyor when you purchased the boat? And a second question is, as an experienced boat owner, how much were you able to lower the price from the original asking price? So to answer your second question first, we were able to get the price lowered a little bit from the original asking price. I wouldn't say a sizable amount. Really, it's completely dependent on the market conditions. How many boats are in inventory in a particular area, and is it a buyer's market, a seller's market, and ultimately how much is the seller, willing to drop the price from the original asking price. So no real hard-coded answer there. It's all sort of in flux based on the situation of the sale. To answer the first question that you had, did you appoint a marine surveyor when you purchased the boat? Yes, it is a requirement of just about all insurance agencies, as well as if you're going to have a lien or a loan on the boat, they typically require a marine survey as well. Obviously, for the purpose of the insurance agency, they want to know the condition of the boat prior to insuring it. I think so you can't come back and make claims on things. It's just a way to have things document in the stated condition that you purchased the boat. So usually that's going to be a requirement unless you're not planning to insure or not planning to get a loan on the vessel. And also the marine surveyors need to usually be a credentialed marine surveyor. I forget the credentials that were required on our purchase, but it can't just be your buddy coming and surveying the boat. It needs to be written by someone that is a certified marine surveyor. In addition to a surveyor, we also had a mechanic on board, and we just had a mechanic on board to review all the diesel systems on the boat, all the mechanical systems on the boat, so the engines, the generator, and the wing. Our third question this week comes from James, and James lives in the UK. What maintenance do you do on the tender? And second question is, any maintenance on engine belt replacement, and how do you keep the windows and chrome work on MV Freedom so clean? So yes, there is maintenance on the tender. I wouldn't say I'm as diligent about doing maintenance on the tender as I am the boat, but there's oil changes, there's gear lube changes. Those are kind of the two biggies. There's a fuel filter that needs to be changed periodically as well. We have not done any video on engine belt replacement. However, they need to be changed periodically on our boat. We have belts on all of our engines, the generator, the main, and the wing, and they all need to be periodically changed as wear is noticed. So we'll have to maybe get that captured in a future video. Actually just did it this spring on the main. And then how do we keep the windows and the chrome so clean on MB Freedom? So for the windows, seen in a few videos back, I do actually wax them. Some people will clean them and put Rain-X on them, but I actually go and wax them, and that tends to remove a lot of water spots and then also prevent new ones from occurring. And then for our bright work, for our metal, I use a metal polish with a Scotch-Brite pad to clean them up, and then I come back and I apply hand wax after they've been cleaned. And then our fourth and final question this week comes from Tom V. When insuring Freedom, was it a difficult process? Some of my boating friends say it's a long and complicated process for them in the Orlando and Port Canaveral area. So this is entirely, again, sort of up to your experience on the boat that you're trying to get insured, where you live, so the region of the world that you're planning to operate the boat. Obviously, if you're in an area where there's named storms, it's going to be more difficult to get insurance, or coverage may be based on season and the boat may need to be moved, or a different situation for it. Maybe it needs to be taken out of the water and put on the hard. And also your sort of cruising area. So up in the Pacific Northwest, insurance in the inner waters of Puget Sound and the protected areas are quite easy to come by, but when you want to extend your cruising area to cover offshore in the Pacific, then it becomes a little bit more difficult, and the rates go up. So it's all dependent on boat experience, what kind of boat you have, region of the world that you are boating, and sort of what your cruising areas are. So, for example, on the topic of insurance, when we recently went down the Oregon coast, our normal insurance plan doesn't cover us for the offshore areas that we needed to transit to get to Oregon. So for that, we called our insurance agency and we got a special insurance declaration for that trip. So we needed to change our insurance policy for the year. I think it was a $300 adder. And then when we came back from our trip a couple weeks later, we removed that portion of our policy, and then they just charged us for the prorated time during our trip. So it may have been, $20 or $30 for the actual time that we needed to be covered for that trip. So that's always an option as well. Extend your cruising area that's needed for a particular trip, and then when you get back, cancel it or kind of shorten your cruising area when it's not needed. As always, thanks for all the really great questions, and you know the drill. If you want one of your questions answered, look us up on Instagram at MVFreedomSeattle and drop us a direct line. We'll get your question added to the list, and we'll get it answered in an upcoming video. We hope everybody has a really great week, and we'll see you next weekend. Cheers.